Good morning, families. This video is for the parents and the guardians and every wonderful person who is in charge of taking care of your little ones. Today, we're going to talk about what are the skills that are being learned in the different areas um, in the classroom and how students learn through play. So first we're going to go over our daily social skills that students learn while they're in the classroom is listening, waiting for a turn, using our words, being kind to others, working together, cleaning up, helping friends, sharing with others. The sharing is going to change to more to look like taking turns now due to COVID, and then also following the rules of the classroom and following a routine. These are a lot of the social skills that our students need to be ready to go to kindergarten. And so throughout the day, besides working on social emotional development, and our creative curriculum, we're also learning a lot of social skills within our day and within our play. The first section I'm going to go over is toys and games. And when students are in the toys and game centers, they're learning to recognize skills, to reasoning skills, to recognize a problem and solve problems, understanding and analyzing a problem as well. They're drawing on their previous knowledge or experience to seek solutions to a problem. They're also seeking multiple solutions to a task. They can be classifying and comparing and contrasting objects with events and experiences and using past knowledge to build on new knowledge. Also, they're planning, they're initiating and completing activities with peers. They're following directions and working on patience while I wait for my turn. Also, maintaining interest in an activity until completed. These are all goals that are goals and skills that are listed on the early learning framework, and also some are listed on the DRDP for student goals and milestones to be reached. So these are what our students are learning when they're in the toys and game centers within the classroom. Some people may just say, oh, well, they're playing, but yes, they're playing, but within their play, these are all the skills that they're able to accomplish and gain mastery in as they play in these areas. The next area is the discovery area. So it says, when I'm in the discovery area, I am exploring and learning about the world around me, investigating and observe natural substances and processes. They're exploring and learning about science and cause and effect. They're observing and discussing common properties or differences and comparisons between groups and objects or activities as well. They can be collecting and describing and recording information through discussion and drawings and through their science journals, their science art journals. This is something that they can have at home as well, because all you can do is go in your backyard and you have your science lab outside and just grab a notebook and a pencil and you have a science journal. Another skill gained in the discovery science area is describing and discussing predictions. What do you think is going to happen? Why do you think that's going to happen? Explanations and generalizations based on previous experience. So they're making connections with those neurons in their brain. Um, they're also using their senses and tools to gather information and seek new information as well and gain a greater understanding about the world around them. The next is the dramatic play area. So it says, when I'm in the dramatic play center, I am using receptive language. Receptive is the understanding of language and how it's processed through the brain. and expressive language, which is the use of verbal language or body language to communicate. I'm able to understand and able to expressively use the language I have acquired. That's very, very deep. Um, and so through play, speech and language is developed when our students and children are in the dramatic play center. They are learning so much about communication and the real world around them, even though um, for us adults, it might just look like they're playing. But the dramatic play center is probably one of the most effective areas for our students to gain skill in receptive and expressive language. They're also cooperating with others within a group setting, joining in cooperative play, inviting peers to play, models for or teaches peers, helps and shares with peers. They're also developing friendships and healthy social relationships amongst their peers through communication and problem solving. They're also demonstrating independence and self efficiency by identifying characteristics through the feelings of themselves and through other people. They're using their imagination and gaining skills and being curious and taking initiative through their pretend play and their role playing. They're using symbolic representation, which is one of the big DRDP goals. Um, Sorry, I'm trying to get this on the screen as best as I can without getting a glare. They're also using imitation and observations of the real life, and they imitate what has been modeled to them through their play. It also works as like a very therapeutic way of expressing themselves. Um, you will see various forms of uh, play through dramatic play. Sometimes we can even see students acting out some type of forms of aggression at times, and that can be very therapeutic for them. And so, yeah, dramatic play, using their imagination, using what they've learned through imitation. Um, Teachers are able to gather observations and uh, grasp a great understanding as to where our students are with their development and what is it that we need to do to support them to get them to that next level. They're also able to problem solve and recognize and regulate their emotions and attention and impulses and behavior. They're being prepared for kindergarten by remaining engaged and interested and focused in activities that involve cognitive, language, and social emotional skills. They're able to demonstrate flexibility, imagination, and inventiveness in approaching novel tasks and activities. So, these are all the skills that are gained with just playing in the dramatic play area. And this can be easily set up at home to where you can have some small kitchen items and they can pretend to cook. You can have a telephone. The telephone is usually a favorite, and then they can learn number concepts. You can also have a baby doll and have them take care of a baby. There's a lot of different recommendations that you can do to set up a small dramatic play area within your home. Uh, we can also make another video on that, explaining how to set these up in the household while you're doing distance learning. But that will be in another video. Please message me if you're interested in that, and I can go ahead and get that started. All right, so here we go. We're going to go on to the next area, which is the block area. This states, when I'm in the block center, I am using symbolic representation, which is using objects to represent something else. I'm using my intuition and curiosity to build and gain skill in spatial sense, which is a math concept. I'm using reasoning and problem solving skills with building and working amongst peers. I'm using math skills when I'm experimenting with fitting blocks and pieces of different shapes together. I'm becoming familiar with different geometric shapes and their names, and they can also match the shapes as well. I am solving problems and learning to work with my peers. That is another big skill that is needed for kindergarten because they need to learn how to be around their peers without the help of an adult. In preschool, we have, well, right now, due to COVID, we have 3 teachers in one classroom to 12 students. But when they go to kindergarten, and if they're in the classroom with the teacher, there will be one teacher and there will be about 30 to 35 students in one classroom. So that's why that is such a big piece, solving problems and learning to work with my peers. Wow, that sounds very responsible. But this is a skill that they're learning as they're playing within the block area amongst their peers. They're using, again, symbolic representation and engaging in pretend play. There's that pretend play again. Planning, initiating, and completing learning activities with peers or alongside their peers. They're joining in cooperative play with others and inviting others to join in and play with them. They're learning to help, to share, to take turns. We're going to interchange that word share and take turns and cooperate within a group setting, maintaining that obvious social distance that we now have to do thanks to lovely COVID. We're learning about gravity and cause and effect and demonstrating flexibility, imagination, inventiveness in building. Look at all these skills that they're learning, which there's probably a lot more skills that they are learning, but these come directly from what our goals are for our DRDP. This is where we want our students to be. This is what we want for them as they end the year with us, to gain skills in all these areas to get them prepared for kindergarten.